All right, so now we're moving on from the food processor to the KitchenAid Artisan Stand Mixers. So this is really fun, generally because these products are so well known. It creates lots of excitement, and with your exuberant and exciting personalities, it'll be a great compliment and make a really amazing, engaging demo. So what I've done here, we're going to try and do all of the recipes in one segment here for you, and I'm just going to switch up the bowls there. So I'm going to start by showing you, in this one here, I've got some bread dough that you will already pick up. So this is on your shopping list. As I said, all the things are readily available at your local supermarket. So this is not the frozen dough, but it's already pre-prepared pizza dough. And we are highlighting that because we will be serving our goat cheese spread on little baguettes. So this will speak to the baguette element of the sampling. So all we're going to do is, it comes in a bag. I've only just opened the bag and put it in. If you want, you could always have it sitting in the mixer bowl. You don't necessarily have to use this as your first demo. And what will happen is, you'll notice even right now it's starting to happen. It's starting to rise a little bit. So if you want to do that and have it rise, that's not a bad idea. And what will happen is, it will look fuller, and you can actually say, you know, I've had this dough rising in the bowl. And then what you'll do is, so I'm going to unlock my toggle, lift up my mixer. Oops. It'll be easier when it's actually facing you, but just for time's sake and so you can see everything that's going on, I've removed my bowl, and I want to actually be using the dough hook for the bread dough. So it's an easy change. All you're going to do is grip the top of the attachment, push it upwards, and just a little bit of a twist there, because there's a little lock, and you just want to make sure that you are aligning that with the little toggle here. So again, I'm going to take my bread hook, align it with that little toggle, give it a push and a twist, and now it's intact. Then I'll take my bowl. There we go, that's locked and loaded into place. The bread hook has now just sunk into the dough. I'm going to lock my head so that now it's secure. And like I said, you don't want to go any higher than, say, a 2 or a 3. Oh, am I plugged in here? Whoops, technical difficulty. There we go. So now, I don't know if you can get a close-up of this. I'll try and tilt it forward a little bit. But the dough just gets onto the bread hook there, the dough hook, and it will just circulate almost in a ball formation. And what that allows is, when the ingredients are both dry and wet and haven't quite incorporated, it will allow the ingredients to incorporate, but while it's in dough form, it basically replaces and negates the necessity of kneading the dough. So you don't have to actually do the grunt work, the massaging of the dough and beating it down there. It's all done for you in your mixer. So sometimes what you may want to do is, just as I'm sort of having a dialogue with you through the computer, what you can do is, as it's going and whizzing around, because it's not loud, you can speak over it. You can still get into engagements with your customers, and then that way speak to the actual products, the attachments. You know, you can say, I've got my dough hook on now, but when I need to, I can just switch up my paddle mixer or my whisk. And then that way it gives you the opportunity, while this is kind of whizzing around, to actually have a dialogue and engage your customers. So that I've only had on a stir. If I increase the speed, I mean, it just goes around a little bit faster because it's already in dough formation. It's just essentially kneading itself. So now I've got it in the off position. I'm going to unlock my tilt head, and it's sliding off the dough hook there. And essentially we've just kneaded it down a little bit. Oops, there we go. So I mean, it's still the same dough. It hasn't really done anything different, but what we are highlighting with this particular demonstration is that A, if you allow it to rise there, it will come back down in size so they can see that functionality, and they can just essentially see how the dough hook works. And then you can move on to your next demo, and of course this would obviously be one of the recipes where you highlight, well obviously with the facilities, pardon me, that I have here available, I haven't baked the bread today, but it was already pre-prepared for me. So that way the customer understands that you've just sort of done it for the demonstration's sake. So I'm just going to put this bowl aside. So that was our dough. I'm going to now go into a little bit of a fun demo there. It's just a basic whipped cream, and I'm just going to use actually whipping cream that's just in the dairy cooler. You'll find that very easily. Now, with this, what I would suggest is doing the whipped cream after you've rinsed your bowl. So I wouldn't necessarily start with it. Reason being, the whipped cream really works best when the whipped cream is super cold and the bowl is super cold. So I know that we don't have a refrigeration facility, so that's okay, we'll make do. Ideally, customers, when they take it home, they can actually put the bowl in the fridge. But for our sake, what we'll do is we'll just make sure that we have washed the outside of it with cold water so that it cools down the temperature of the bowl. So I'm just going to excuse myself for a quick moment, go to my fridge and grab my whipped cream.